Homelander, The Deep, A-Train, a fake Black Noir, Sister Sage, and now Firecracker. Gone are the days of the Seven actually feeling like what they once did with the likes of Starlight, Queen Maeve, and a Black Noir that could cause damage. One of the newest members in the formidable soup group is Firecracker, also known as Misty Grey, a character that was introduced to us a couple of episodes back and was specifically selected by Sister Sage to be the 6th member. We've had a fair bit of screen time with her, but I thought I'd do a bit of research into the character and explain all that there is to know about her, along with theorizing on what might happen to her. So let's get into it. Here is The Boys Season 4 Firecracker Explained. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. Firecracker's Past. Firecracker's past is something that has definitely molded her personality into what it is in the present day. She's also somebody that clearly holds on to the past, as we saw when she brought up her previous encounter with Starlight from several decades ago when they were on the pageant scene together. Like most soups, Firecracker gained her powers when Vought reached out to her family and proposed the idea of giving their newborn baby Compound V. Following them accepting the offer, she ultimately went on to gain the powers and abilities that she has in the present day. When Firecracker was growing up, she came from a family that didn't have that much in terms of a financial sense, but it doesn't sound like that held her back or prevented her from trying to achieve her dreams and her goals, as she competed in the soup pageant circuit and tried her best to get her routines to the highest standard, even though she didn't have the space to practice as freely as one would have liked to. When she was younger, Starlight was her biggest rival on the pageant scene, and there was one occasion specifically where she made it into the final alongside Starlight. However, Starlight spread a rumor around that Firecracker had only made it as far as she did in the pageant because she'd carried out certain acts on the judges, something which tarnished her name and stuck with her on the scene to the point where she dropped out. This is why in the present day there was so much hatred towards Starlight, and Starlight didn't even remember her or the fact that she did it until it was mentioned. One can only imagine how that impacted the rest of her childhood growing up, and the ostracization is probably a large reason as to why she ended up having the personality that we've seen her having. As well as that, outside of the present day, we also found out in episode 4 of the show that she worked as a counselor at the Capes for Christ Bible Camp, and whilst she was working there, she was intimate with a 15-year-old, and it was actually captured. It managed to stay out of the limelight and Vought got her charges lessened, but that incident being revealed to us really did show the type of person that she truly is. Her powers. When it comes to Firecracker's powers and the way that we've seen her exhibit them, they've been extremely underwhelming, and her place in the 7 feels like it's undeserving. However, we know that she's just there to be a pawn in Sister Sage's wider plan and game. Firecracker's main power, and where her name ultimately comes from, is the fact that she has the ability to create sparks by snapping her fingers, something which quite literally resembles a firecracker. Something rather underwhelming. It's an ability that doesn't seem like it's that useful in close combat or even in any kind of battle. It's almost like a gimmick and something you'd use for entertainment, rather than winning a fight. So realistically, her main power doesn't actually make her that much stronger. Another part of her powers is the fact that she has enhanced strength. We saw her have a fight with Kimiko and she was able to compete. However, when we saw her fighting Starlight, she got absolutely pummeled and didn't stand a chance against her. She didn't really get a hit in at all, and if Mother's Milk didn't stop Starlight, then I genuinely feel like she would have killed Firecracker. So her strength didn't prove to be that advantageous when up against somebody that was actually naturally strong enough and deserving to be in the 7. As well as the enhanced strength, many people that take Compound V get enhanced durability, which makes them able to withstand damage from other soups. As I mentioned when talking about her strength, her durability was the only reason that she was able to take as much of a beating from Starlight that she did. Without that, she would have been long dead before Starlight was going to end things. So that is one thing that she does have in her arsenal. The final power that she has is another thing that most soups get when they take V, and that's enhanced hearing, which allows her to hear higher frequencies that humans can't. Whilst that is beneficial, it does come with its own weaknesses as well. Firecracker's powers really aren't that impressive, but the only thing that I would say goes in her favour is the fact that she has the ability to talk to the camera well and get people to buy into the rubbish that she comes out with. The way she can hold a room and then also get them on her side, that's more impressive than any of her powers and something we've seen her use more than her actual abilities. Her weaknesses. A lot of Firecracker's weaknesses come from the fact that she doesn't actually have that much experience in using her powers in a practical way. We saw this when she was fighting Butcher, Frenchie, Kimiko, and Mother's Milk. She almost didn't know what to do and ended up running away after waking up once being knocked out. A soup should be able to deal with 3 humans with ease, and it was something that she just simply wasn't able to do. As well as that, considering that she has enhanced durability, it's not actually that strong, as she was knocked out at the event and she also took a lot of damage from Starlight when she fought her. So even though she is tougher and can withstand more damage when compared to humans, it still isn't that strong and should probably be very easy to defeat. For a lot of soups, you'd need to play the high frequency noise to render them to a point where it would be piercing their ears and make them powerless so that you could even get close to being able to attack. Whereas with her, I don't think there would be any fear in attacking on a level playing field. Her personality. Firecracker is kinda like an influencer, and she spills out words that she feels people wants to hear that she doesn't even solely believe in order to gain popularity and be a figurehead of a wider group. A group that lacks direction and purpose. So she essentially preys on the weak in order to feed her own ego, something which says a lot about the character. She seems interested in Homelander, even though he isn't that interested in her. And I feel that's probably because she desires power, and he'd be able to bring her that. It's probably more the fact that she could also say that she'd been with Homelander in an intimate way. As well as that, Firecracker has also said some comments towards non-white people that shows that she's racist, and that makes up a huge part of her personality. In terms of what happened with Starlight when they were younger, that shows that she holds on to things that impact her and she doesn't easily forget if you've wronged her. She doesn't know that she's being used right now, which I think also says a lot about her actual awareness of what's going on around her. What will happen to Firecracker? Firecracker has two different arms to her story, and I think there are two different routes that she's going to end up going down in one of them. The first is that it feels like it's being teed up for a Starlight and Firecracker battle in the finale. However, we obviously got it in episode 4 and she got obliterated, so I don't feel like a final battle would actually be that impressive to watch because it would probably be a repeat. But if that does happen, then I think Starlight will end up killing her. Especially because it seems as though Starlight is going to be channeling some kind of darkness following everything that's happened. Or I feel because Firecracker is being used by Sister Sage as a pawn in her plan to help Homelander, and she's essentially being put in the firing line to take a beating. We could see Firecracker realize this, and she may end up siding with the boys in Starlight, and there could be some kind of reconciliation that takes place between Starlight and her. This is something that I don't think is that likely, and it would probably go against the traditional route of a story and character development in the boys, but you never know, it could happen. In terms of her main story, we're seeing that she's being used by Sister Sage and Homelander in order to get people to hate on Starlight and naturally move over to the Homelanders. This is the main part of her arc, and I think that's something that will continue to happen. She doesn't seem to hold the intelligence to be able to realize what's going on, and she's being easily manipulated by Sister Sage into believing that they're friends because they joined at the same time and are the new soups. Firecracker is definitely an interesting character in the show, and one that I think we're going to continue to be seeing. She doesn't feel as important as Sister Sage, and she's definitely more disposable as she doesn't have as much depth or weight to her, but she's proving to provide some great moments, and her personal rivalry with Starlight is something that I'm enjoying watching the most. So, there you have it, The Boys Season 4 Firecracker Explained. If you want to see more videos on The Boys Season 4 or Gen V, then click on the card in the top corner, the playlist will be up there. Or alternatively, you can head over to my channel where you'll find them all. What did you think of Firecracker? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, thanks for tuning into the video and I'll see you in the next one.